Joseph D. Liebgott, Jr., a technician 5th grade in Easy Company, served in a unique role during the Second World War. He was both a paratrooper and a translator, a combination that made him particularly valuable to the unit. Many of the men around him assumed he was Jewish because of his surname, but that assumption was incorrect. Liebgott had actually been raised in the Roman Catholic faith. What likely caused the confusion was his ability to speak an Austrian dialect of German fluently, which to some of his comrades sounded very similar to Yiddish. Liebgott's story began in 1915 in Lansing, Michigan. He was the eldest of 6 children born to Joseph Sr. and Mary Liebgott, immigrants from Austria. His father was a deeply devout Catholic, and faith played an important role in the household. The children were raised strictly within the Roman Catholic tradition and attended Catholic schools during their early years. Eventually, the Liebgott family moved west and settled in Oakland, California. It was there that Joe spent much of his youth. He completed 2 years of high school before leaving to help support the family. In those years, he worked alongside his father in the family barber shop, learning the trade, while also taking on a variety of odd jobs to make ends meet. When the time came to enlist in the Army, Liebgott listed his civilian occupation simply as cook in the official records. On September 9, 1942, in San Francisco, Liebgott officially joined the United States Army. Not long afterward, he volunteered for the Airborne, a decision that would shape the rest of his wartime experience. He was eventually assigned to Easy Company of the 506th Parachute Infantry Regiment. Training at Camp Toccoa, Georgia, was famously brutal, and the company's first commander, First Lieutenant Herbert Sobel, was known for his relentless discipline. One moment remembered by the men occurred during an inspection, when Sobel discovered that Liebgott's bayonet had rust on it. In a dramatic display, Sobel struck Liebgott on the helmet with the blade and loudly berated him, declaring that a rusty bayonet had no place in a soldier preparing for war. In the days leading up to the invasion of Normandy, Liebgott found a way to put his old barbershop skills to use. Along with fellow soldier Forrest Guth, he gave haircuts to other members of the 101st Airborne Division, charging 15 cents per man. Many soldiers opted for shaved heads or mohawk-style cuts, a look that quickly became common among the paratroopers preparing for the jump into France. When the night of the invasion finally arrived, Liebgott parachuted safely into Normandy. Soon after landing, he took part in the famous assault on Bricourt Manor, one of Easy Company's most important early actions of the war. During the fight, Liebgott operated a machine gun alongside Cleveland Petty, helping suppress German positions. Their courage during the assault caught the attention of Colonel Robert Sink, who later awarded both men the Bronze Star for their actions. 4 days after D-Day, Liebgott showed fellow soldier Roderick Stroll a ring he had taken from a dead German soldier he had killed with his bayonet. It was a grim reminder of the brutal reality of the fighting they had just endured. Later, during the fierce battle for the town of Carentan, Liebgott and Edward Babe Tipper were clearing houses in search of German troops. At one point, a German soldier attempted to escape from a building, and Liebgott shot him as he fled. Not long afterward, a mortar round exploded nearby, badly wounding Tipper. Without hesitation, Liebgott rushed to his aid. He comforted his wounded friend, and with the help of Harry Welsh, carried Tipper to a medical station where he could receive treatment. On October 5, 1944, Liebgott himself was wounded, though only lightly. During Operation Market Garden, Easy Company was stationed on an island in the Netherlands along the southern bank of the Rhine River. While there, Liebgott's patrol encountered a German unit. A grenade exploded during the clash, wounding both Liebgott and Roderick Stroll, while James Alley and Joseph Lesniewski were hit much more severely. Alley suffered 32 wounds across his left side, face, neck, and arm. Lesniewski was struck in the neck by shrapnel. Shortly afterward, Easy Company Commander Richard Winters led a daring charge along a dike toward a crossroads. As the attack unfolded, German artillery began firing into the area, prompting American artillery to respond. One American shell exploded close to Liebgott, injuring his elbow. Despite these hardships, Winters later described Liebgott as an outstanding combat soldier. However, Liebgott also developed a reputation for being particularly harsh toward captured German soldiers. After the intense fighting at the crossroads in October 1944, Winters assigned Liebgott the task of escorting 11 German prisoners back to battalion headquarters. To ensure the prisoners' safety, Winters ordered Liebgott to unload all of his ammunition except for a single round. By December 1944, during the Battle of the Bulge in Bastogne, the constant strain of combat had begun to wear heavily on him. Winters noticed that Liebgott was nearing complete exhaustion and temporarily removed him from the front line. Instead, he assigned him to run errands around the command post. Even so, Liebgott insisted on returning to the fight with his fellow soldiers. Recognizing his ability with the German language, Winters eventually assigned him to the intelligence section of the 101st Division headquarters, known as S2. There, Liebgott's job was to interrogate captured German soldiers, but Winters soon began to regret the decision. Liebgott's deep resentment toward the enemy sometimes made those interrogations difficult. During one patrol near the village of Neuville, Liebgott and Sergeant Earl Hale entered a barn where they discovered 6 German SS officers. Suddenly, an artillery shell exploded nearby, throwing the scene into chaos. In the confusion, one of the SS officers attacked Hale with a knife and slashed his throat. Miraculously, Hale survived the wound. In response, Liebgott quickly shot and killed the attacker. Afterward, the incident took on an unexpected twist. When Hale later encountered General George Patton, the general reprimanded him for not wearing a necktie. Hale responded by producing a letter from the doctor who had treated his throat wound, explaining that wearing a tie was medically impossible. After Germany's defeat, Easy Company was assigned occupation duty in Austria. During this period, Company Commander Ronald Spears ordered Liebgott and several other soldiers, John C. Lynch, Don Moon, and Wayne Sisk, to track down a former Nazi who had once run a forced labor camp. When they finally located the man, Liebgott interrogated him for nearly half an hour to confirm his identity. Convinced that they had the right person, the soldiers drove him to a remote ravine. There, Liebgott shot him twice. The wounded man managed to run up a nearby hill. Lynch ordered Don Moon to finish him off, but Moon refused. In the end, Wayne Sisk fired a single rifle shot that killed the man. Interestingly, the television series Band of Brothers depicts David Webster being present during this event, but Webster never mentioned such an incident in his memoir Parachute Infantry. Decades later, when the Band of Brothers series aired, Liebgott's children reached out to surviving members of Easy Company, including Bill Guarnere. In 2002, they attended a reunion in Phoenix, where they shared several details about their father's life. They confirmed that he had indeed been raised Catholic, not Jewish as many had believed. They also explained that some parts of his story portrayed in the book and television series were inaccurate. For instance, Liebgott had never driven a cab in San Francisco after the war. According to his family, something far more mysterious happened. After returning from the war, Liebgott disappeared for 3 years. He never told even his parents where he had gone or that he had returned from Europe. His family later believed that he had struggled with what is now recognized as post-traumatic stress and had simply wandered for a time, distancing himself from society. Eventually, he resurfaced in California's Great Valley. There he settled down, got married, and started a large family. Returning to a familiar trade, he worked quietly as a barber for the rest of his life. Remarkably, Liebgott never told his 8 children about his wartime experiences. They only learned of his service years later, after the book and television series brought his story to public attention. While searching through old belongings in the attic, they eventually discovered his 506th Regimental scrapbook and his jump wings, silent reminders of the life he had once lived as a paratrooper. Joseph D. Liebgott passed away on June 28, 1992, in San Bernardino, California.